to obviously tell our story too.
Yeah.
Jess, it's Mom. Open the door. It's me. Give me your wallet and phone and stuff. So, your what?
They're in the car.
We're obviously going to place you under arrest. There's a warrant for your arrest. We're going to take you to the jail. Right now, you do have to come with us, and I do have to put you in handcuffs. So turn around for me.
She's like, no child should have to go through this. At her house, one of the girls was struggling, telling him no in his room. Mom came up, knocks on the door. Everything okay in there? Jesse goes, yeah. And she turns around and walks away, despite the fact that there was a young girl yelling, screaming, and struggling.
Rick knows about this. Candy's on this. Dad's on his way. We're coming to get you, okay? Stay strong, okay? Say your prayers.
You can't make this stuff up. This is novel stuff. This is a book stuff.
That is Jesse Mack Butler, and he's an 18-year-old student from Stillwater, Oklahoma, which is a town that's really known for family and football, and it's a very suburban type town. But in late 2025, his name exploded into the headlines for very awful reasons.
Oklahoma man facing nearly 8 decades in prison for the brutal sexual and physical abuse of 2 teenagers is instead walking free. 18-year-old Jesse Butler admitted to committing these horrific crimes against his 2 former girlfriends while he was also still a minor.
Jesse pleaded no contest to 11 felony counts: rape, assault by strangulation, and violation of a protective order. 2 teenagers came forward with their own stories of what happened with Jesse Mack Butler. One of them said that Jesse had choked her until she blacked out, and her body went completely limp. When she came to, he was laughing. She had told investigators that he filmed himself her while she was unconscious. And the Guardian reported that he had threatened her and said that if she ever came forward with this information about what had happened, that he would kill her or her family. A doctor had testified that the bruising on her throat was so severe that she was just 30 seconds away from dying. The second girl described a different kind of horror, one that moved much more slowly. It started as manipulation or emotional control and threats. According to court records, he isolated her from her friends, monitored her phone, and told her that no one would believe her if she spoke out. And then one night it turned violent. She said that he had pinned her down, strangled her, and assaulted her while she begged him to stop. And to top it all off, afterwards, she told police that he was just texting her like nothing ever even happened. And still, despite all of that, both of their pleas, the evidence, the bruising on the throat, Jesse Mack Butler will never spend a day in adult prison. Judge Susan C. Worthington ruled that even though he was tried as an adult, he'd be sentenced as a youthful offender. And that decision right there changed everything for him. Now, instead of decades behind bars where he clearly should be, he got a year of probation, counseling, and community service. No prison, no record. After 19 years old, he'll be able to just walk free. Stillwater, the town, erupted. Parents, students, and survivors filled the courthouse.
I'm a Stillwater resident, and I'm deeply concerned about a courthouse that lets violent sex offenders walk free out of it, not even with the expectation of being registered. What the hell is the point of a sex offender registry if people that have committed violent sex crimes aren't on it? It is an absolute abomination that the person who attempted to murder you on film proudly is not held accountable.
They had signs reading "Justice for Survivors" and "Hold the judge accountable," because it quickly became clear to all of us that it wasn't just about one teenager's crimes. It was about a system that seemed determined to protect him. And this is when people started tying things together. Jesse's father had been director of football operations at Oklahoma State University, which is one of the most powerful positions in that college town. And coincidentally, both Judge Worthington and District Attorney Laura Thomas are alumni of that very same school. Of course, no one can prove that these ties are the ones that change the outcome, but the optics of it looked very suspicious to a lot of people.
Does it absolutely smack of political favor and that you're going to erase and heinous crimes so that you can give this guy a slap on the wrist and tell these families they don't matter and that this one important person matters more than their kids being and again turn this predator back out on the street to do it some more?
People really started whispering, was he spared because of who his family was. One comment on Reddit wrote, "The only difference here is that this kid's dad works for Oklahoma State." Another wrote, "If this isn't privilege, what is?" And a third went even further. Remember, John Wayne Gacy's first crime was a sex crime. He was sentenced to 10 years and got out in 18 months. This is what happens when you let violent sex offenders walk free. My biggest question throughout this all, and what really hurt my heart the most, was if this is how the system treats girls who come forward, why would any survivor ever speak up again? These are teenagers having to come forward and recount these awful tragedies that have occurred to them. Instead of getting justice for them and showing them that thank you for coming forward and thank you for having the courage to come forward, instead it's almost like a slap in their face. I wanted to look into this Youth Offender Act and what was the purpose of it in the first place. The Oklahoma Youthful Offender Act was created in the 1990s to give non-violent teenagers a second chance, which I could see the purpose of that. If someone maybe steals something, or someone speeds or something before they're 18, maybe not having them have that carry throughout their entire life. I could see why that would make sense. But it was never meant to shield people convicted of violent assaults. But because Jesse was 17 at the time, his lawyers argued that he was still qualified, and the judge agreed. She cited his, quote, supportive family environment and, quote, potential for rehabilitation. Her decision to change him from being tried as an adult to being tried as a teen was just devastating to the victims. One mother told the New York Post, quote, "He took everything from her, and now the judge is giving him everything back." Another parent said the process felt like reliving the trauma just to see it thrown out. And one of the saddest parts is that the victims had begged the court to imagine what it would feel like if the judge's own daughters were in that same position that they were in. But nothing changed. One Reddit comment that stuck out to me wrote, "So basically if you're 17 years and 11 months old, you can ruin two people's lives and the state will say, oh well, you were young." Another added, quote, "Youthful offender laws aren't the problem. Judges like these are." By early November, The Guardian reported that calls for an investigation into the judge's decision were echoing across the state.
State lawmaker is calling for an investigation into why a Stillwater teen convicted of multiple violent crimes was able to leave court without any prison time.
But as of now, neither Worthington, the judge, nor the district attorney has received any disciplinary action. Jesse remains under supervision until his 19th birthday, which means curfew, counseling, 150 hours of service, and a social media ban. And if he is able to complete it all, his record disappears. But the most upsetting part to me is that the girls don't get that option. They're still in therapy, still afraid to walk through that town, and still probably trying to learn how to trust a system that told them to speak up and then ignored them when they did. One of the victims wrote in her statement, "You didn't just strangle me with your hands, you strangled my voice, my joy, my ability to feel safe in my own body." Her mother told the court, quote, "She had to prove she was a victim over and over again, while the system made excuse after excuse for the person who hurt her." There is another hearing scheduled for December 8th, described by the New York Post as a routine progress review. People magazine reported that the parents of the victims still drive by the courthouse every week. Sometimes they stop and just sit in their car, because even if the system is choosing to forget, they can't. So here's where things stand as of today. Jesse Mack Butler is still under youthful offender supervision. Judge Susan Worthington is still on the bench. District Attorney Laura Thomas still holds office. And two families in Stillwater are still waiting for someone in power to admit what everybody else already knows, that this wasn't justice. When I was reading about this case, it reminded me of another story I did, which I will link below, but it's the story of Ed Buck, who was this powerful man who took advantage of so many people and got away with it for so long because of his power and his wealth and his status and who he knew. It's a story about a system that looked the other way until it was too late. What scares me the most about this whole story is when he's free at 19, does the court just think that this man is going to be an upholding citizen? Because a 17-year-old doing this, recording this, laughing in this person's face, that is going to be someone who does these crimes much more in the future and will potentially take others' lives. So who is held responsible if that happens? Does a judge then get tried because the judge is the one who let him walk free? That's something I'm curious about too. Who is held accountable when he's let free at 19 to his own devices if he does this kind of thing again and hurts someone again or potentially kills someone, like he was 30 seconds away from killing that one victim? Who is responsible outside of him? Because in my opinion, it should be the judge as well, because she is the one who chose to make him under the Youthful Act and is the reason why he's able to walk free at age 19. Sorry, it's a very upsetting case and I've already finished the story, but I'm just thinking about it now in my head and just reveling in what will happen in the years when he's free? Do we think that he's just going to be some upholding citizen who has this as his past? Yeah, right. Let me know if you'd like me to continue following this case with updates, and also email me if you have any other stories you'd like to see me cover on this channel. I take a lot of the stories I do on this channel from the recommendations that you email me, so I really appreciate all of your feedback and all of your ideas for future episodes. Thank you so much for watching, and my heart is being sent to those 2 victims, and yeah, I will see you soon with another video. Okay, thank you. Bye.